Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So today is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a little while. If you saw a few videos ago, I gave an update, and one of the updates was that I had an interview, and then shortly, like a few days later, I had an update that I unfortunately did not get the job. I was pretty disappointed. But I just want to talk like in general, like my experience with that interview and just like jobs in general, and interviewing and being disabled, because it is pretty frustrating in my experience. And I'm not going to name the company I applied for, but I will say that I have lost some respect for the company. Like, it's sad to think that, but I have. But I will say, like, given time, like almost a month since I had the interview, I have had time to like process everything, and I'm definitely doing a lot better than I was when I first like got like the email saying like, oh, we don't want you. Let me start off with, I think at this point it's been like 2 years, let's just say it was a couple years ago. So I actually applied for the same job, and it's all online, which honestly has its benefits. It's like has its pros and cons. Like, the pro for me is, since I can't like drive myself, having it online is easier. But the con for me is there's like no one to like talk to and just like talk about like the accommodations I need, because the interview was also online. That was kind of like wait, I got this. An optical I don't got this. Anyway, that was a challenge that I had to like overcome. So the first time, a couple years ago, I applied online. I quickly got an interview that was also online, and it was good. I practiced a ton. I thought I was prepared. I thought I did well, but then at the end of it, it had like this basically like this yes or no, and they named like a bunch of things that you need to be able to do, and I was looking at it being like, okay, like technically I can't do everything, but it's because I have cerebral palsy, and there was no place to say like yes with accommodations. Like, I swear they didn't even say like with accommodations. I think at this point they have like changed it for the new version, but at that point I was like, I don't see any place where they say like with accommodations, so like what am I gonna do? So I was honest, which honestly, I guess if I really wanted a chance, I should have said yes, even though that's not true. But like I said, there was no one to talk to about it. I guess I may have had the opportunity if I would go further, but like I just feel like saying no, or I just feel like saying yes in that moment is somewhat lying. But anyway, so I said no, and then I was quickly denied going further, which I honestly expected, because they wouldn't, like, if you say no, they're probably not even gonna look at the rest of the your application, like, unfortunately. So I was frustrated, and it was like something I was like, you know what, it's okay, like maybe it's not meant to be. I was like planning to like go in person, but I guess I ended up not doing that. I called like months later, like it may have been almost a year later. I was like, maybe if I go in person and ask, this would be better. So I did that, and the day I went, they were busy, so they were like, okay, give us your contact information and we'll get back to you. Well, I gave them my contact information, and they never got back to me. So that's amazing. A few years, went by, and here we are, 2024, and it's like, you know what, I want to try again. I really just want to like get out. Like, that's the main like goal, I guess, for me. Like, I just wanted to get out. Not necessarily like this is like a job that like I really want. It just like would give me an ability to interact with more people. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna apply again. I'm gonna go in person. Actually, first, if you go to like their jobs descriptions, at the end they do have a number to call if you need accommodations. So that number was called, and it was not helpful at all, which is very disappointing because, like, for me, it wasn't necessarily the application. Like, it's so confusing because technically, like, I could fill out the application, but it was like the fact that like I need, like, I don't know, I just feel like in some situations it's just better to talk to someone in person so then they can like see you. I know there are plenty of people who would like want to apply for this job but like actually need help with the application, whether it be like if they're visually impaired or, you know, blind or, you know, other disabilities, and it's just like very disappointing when the number that they have does nothing and is not helpful. Like, that is so disappointing. Anyway, where am I? In the story. So we went in person, and the first thing they say is,
oh, you know, our application is online. Just apply there.
You can just see I'm getting nowhere. It's a dead end. Like, I'm getting literally nowhere, and it's so frustrating. Like, oh my goodness. So you know what that needs to be done is just to keep advocating. So I went there with my mom, and we just like we weren't gonna leave a call. They like, obviously they have someone who's in charge of application, so eventually they were like, oh yeah, we have a person that you can talk to, just wait for here for a second. So that's what we did, and we eventually got to talk to a real human being. Thank you. It shouldn't have to be that hard, but it was. She was nice, and long story short, I did get an interview, so that's where I got the interview. She was nice. The one thing I will say is I don't think she completely understands just like the challenges for me and why like I just don't think she understood my situation and why I was there like trying to get help, but she did give me an interview, which was good, so I was happy about that. She said that you know, I would have an interview with her and one other person. My interview was July 8th. I practiced. I went to the interview, but one thing that was different is there was actually only one person who interviewed me. It was not the same woman that gave me the interview, which honestly, looking back, I'm just like, okay. But I get it, whatever, maybe, you know, she was busy. But this person, like, I don't know, she was nice, but one thing I will say is I just got the sense that she wasn't necessarily happy that she had to interview me since all the other interviews are online. So, I just got the sense that she was like, oh my goodness, like, you're kind of wasting my time, which is, like, annoying, but maybe I'm just reading into things, but I just feel like she like made a comment being like, oh, like you can't do the online interview, and it was like clear that the person that gave me the interview and her, the person who interviewed me, did not communicate with each other, which is like, why? Because at the end of the interview, they did the same thing when they list everything you can do, and I'm pretty confident she didn't even say with accommodations, which you should say. I later was like, yeah, I can do them with accommodations, and then I explained, you know, my disabilities, and she was like, oh, you tell her that? The person that gave me the interview? I'm just like, yes. And in my mind, I'm just like, do you guys not communicate with each other? Like, I don't know. It was weird. Clearly she didn't know much about me. and they didn't communicate with each other. But I thought the interview went well. But a day later, I got the email that said that they did not choose me to go further, and it did, like, once I read it for the first time, it did not sit well with me at all, because the reason they gave was because I didn't give the hours they wanted, and I'm just sitting there being like, I gave them so many hours, like, you have no idea. I gave them so much availability, like, and they're telling me that's the reason I didn't get it? Like, no. Like, I don't believe that for a second. Of course, I don't have any proof of, like the real reason, or, you know, maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that is the real reason, but personally, I don't believe that. I do believe my disability play a factor. Of course, I don't have any proof of that, but it really does seem, because that reason is just, it's not a good reason. Like, I understand if I gave them, like, 2 days that I'm available, but I gave them so much time, so just, like, what? It would have made way more sense if they said, like, oh, they wanted someone with more experience, because for the specific job, I don't have any experience, but they didn't really say that. Which I'm like, if you're gonna say anything, say that, because that makes a lot more sense. Like, of course, everyone has to start somewhere, but, you know, if they want someone with more experience, I completely understand that, but they didn't even say that. They were like,
you didn't give us enough availability that we wanted.
okay, good to know, I put so much effort to get this interview, like, so much effort that I shouldn't have to put in. It's just so frustrating, and, like, I know, like, the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is higher than people without disabilities, and it's just, like, so frustrating when, like, I have this experience. While I don't have experience at this specific kind of job, I am, with my, you know, bachelor's degree, am definitely, you know, qualified for this job. Like, I'm overqualified, honestly. And, like, in that moment, I'm just like, you know what? You know, for them, it's easier to hire someone who's able-bodied. They don't have to put in the effort to make accommodations for them. But it's just, like, so frustrating. Like, even if that's not the case, you know, I know that has happened for a lot of people, and they have experienced that. And it's just, like, so frustrating to think that people and companies think disabled people are not capable, like, or not qualified. It's just so frustrating. Like, it's not that we're not qualified or capable, it's just, like, these companies don't want to put in the effort, and they think that a person who has no disabilities can do a better job. But I don't agree with that. Like, I don't think that's always the case. Like, the one thing I will say is, people with disabilities, they tend to have amazing work ethic, and that comes from just, like, at least for me, like, the challenges I have faced, and just, like, how hard my life is. Like, I have to work harder, and it has made me have a strong work ethic. And it just, like, if companies are gonna think that way, honestly, it's their loss. If you didn't get a job because you felt like it was because of your disability, like, you're not alone. They are ignorant, and they need to get educated. Even though, like, I try my best to not compare myself to anyone, it is hard to not compare myself when you see people on social media and you see, oh, like, they got a job, like, oh, that's so exciting, and, like, it is a saying, like, of course, but it's just, like, part of me is just, like, why can't it be, like, why can't that be me? Like, it's so hard not to compare, like, myself to other people, and I need to do a better job. And, like, I think in my mind, I'm just like, why is this so easy for them? But, like, at the end of the day, I don't know if it was that easy, because it could have took them like months or a year to get that job. Like, I don't know. Well, I do think people with disabilities do have a disadvantages when it comes to applying for jobs, interviewing, like everything like that. I shouldn't compare myself to anyone because I don't know their journey, and yeah, no matter who you are, like getting a job, you know, can be difficult for anyone. And I know I graduated during the worst time, COVID, but I don't want to use that as a reason why, oh, I haven't got a consistent job. I don't know, where I am now is just like applying for that job took so much effort and energy that it's kind of like, it's so like exhausting. It's so exhausting. Like, do I really want to put myself through like just like people not seeing more than my disability? Like, it's so frustrating. If you have experienced this, know that you're not alone, and honestly, like, you can make your own success. Like you can make your own success happen. But yeah, keep going. Like, never give up. Like, I'm trying to talk to myself right now, honestly. But yeah, that was my most recent experience applying for a job and just my thoughts in general. Yeah, I hope you enjoy me talking. Another thing I want to talk about, I guess talk of, is all my life I just felt like I always had to like prove myself, you know, prove society expectations of disabled people and what they can accomplish wrong. So when it comes to getting a job, my mind is just like, oh my goodness, like the fact that I don't have a consistent job, like, oh my goodness, like I'm just proving them right that I'm not capable. And I wish like I didn't always think that way, always like thinking of like proving society wrong, because like I know what I have accomplished and I'm proud of that, and I don't need to prove myself to anyone. And if people think I'm less successful because I can't, you know, get a consistent job, then like they can think that. Like I'm done caring what people think of me in terms of like being successful and everything like that, because I have accomplished a lot of things. If you are someone like me who likes to prove people wrong, just remember, like, you don't always have to think like that, and you know, be proud of everything you have accomplished. And it's not our fault that getting a job is so hard living with disabilities. Like, we can't control that. Like, we can only control so much, and you know, we can work as hard as possible, but even working, you know, hard, like I worked so hard, I thought, on that interview, and it wasn't even like the job, like, oh my goodness, like I wish I could tell you more details, just speak, but I can't. Like, I really can't, because I don't want them to come for me. Since I have no proof. Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say that it's something I'm still working on. But yeah, I'm, you know, proud of even just like my YouTube channel. Like, I'm so proud of that. Any like one who has like a disability, like if you want to have a side hustle, like whether that be like a YouTube channel or like whatever it may be, like work on that, because you know, that is pretty impressive. Like, being able to have a side hustle, I guess like a hobby that you do, and just show like what you're capable of. Like, we can all do it together, okay? But yeah, proving society wrong, like we can do that, but like also we don't need to do that. We shouldn't have to do that. Like, that's society problem. They need to get educated. Like, people need to get educated and not be ignorant. But anyway, I could ramble on forever. I think I'm gonna stop though, for now at least, in this video. Anyway, I have to go. My dog's barking. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, turn on post notifications, and follow me on social media. I'll be seeing you very soon in my next video. Have an amazing day. Bye.